What's up, boxing fans? This is TBE Boxing, back at you again. Today's topic: the road to greatness. Boots can wait. Undisputed between Bud and Charlo next. Winner gets Canelo. Let's chop it up and see what it's all about.
Got the money for minutes, pretty bitch, gotta show me titties. This is the life that I chose, huh? On the block with the pole, huh? This is the life that I chose, huh? On the block with the pole, huh? That life before riches, huh? That life before riches, huh? Pretty bitch, show me titties, huh? And I got the glazzy run up on me, I'ma make you get it. I'ma make you get it.
Okay, boxing fans, let's talk some boxing. We have a lot to chop up. There's a lot of things going on right now in boxing. Uh, you know, Judgment Day has came and went, and this is the aftermath. And now there are a lot of people left, to pick up the pieces, of what happened. So now we're hearing that Errol Spence is definitely going to go ahead and activate his rematch clause. As far as I'm hearing, that's the latest from what from what I'm hearing. So supposedly the fight is going to be coming up this year in December. Now, there's a lot of people out there putting their opinions out there, saying that they don't really believe, that this fight should happen, so soon, if ever again. Okay, and so they're saying some people are saying the fight's too soon for the fight to, take place. Some are saying the fight, that Spence should never fight Crawford again because the same thing's going to happen and he might take more damage. Crawford is going to be stronger at 154 pounds, which is the weight that Spence said he would like to have their rematch. And so there's a lot of opinions out there about what Errol Spence should do. And, now, I mean, I understand, where people are coming from with that. But at the end of the day, it's Errol Spence's decision. And if he wants to go back in there again and give it another shot, then, I mean, he's done enough over his career to, to deserve that opportunity. Okay. And plus, it's in the contract. So, nothing everybody can do about it, really, you know. So, it might not be as advisable to take on Crawford again. From our perspective and from a lot of our people's perspective. But excuse me. At the end of the day, it's Errol Spence's and his team, perspective that matters. And so, if they want to go ahead and activate the rematch, then that's their prerogative. Now, as for me, whether or not they do that, I mean, that's not for me to say or not. I mean, that's up to them. So, they do whatever they want. You know, uh, if that was me, I mean, hey, at the end of the day, you never know what can happen in boxing. Okay, and it's boxing. So, uh, at the least, it would be interesting to see what adjustments Errol Spence can make in a rematch. That would be interesting in the least. Although we know that more than likely we're gonna get the same results, but at the end of the day, that would be an interesting thing to see if there's gonna be a difference. Okay, uh, we don't know, but I mean, he could make adjustments. I mean, the problem though with that is that Crawford don't Crawford make his adjustments in the fight. He don't wait till the next fight to make his adjustments. You know what I mean? So whatever adjustment Errol Spence make for the next fight, Crawford could, make his own adjustments right there in the ring, as we saw in the last fight. So at the end of the day, it doesn't look seem really, that Errol Spence's adjustment is going to make any difference. But like I said, anything can happen in boxing. We're gonna have to wait and see if this fight actually happens. Now, me personally, I would rather see Crawford uh, fight Charlo next. I mean, we're hearing talk about Boots in this because, as you know, or maybe you might not know, the LDBC and their affiliates, of taking a hold of Boots Ennis now as the next sacrificial victim, at the altar of Terence Crawford. I mean, we all know what happened to the other victims. First he was Kell Brook, then Shawn Porter, and then Errol Spence, and now that Terence Crawford has dispatched all of them and you know dashed the hopes and dreams of the LDBC community. They've decided. I mean, they haven't wasted any time. I mean, it's not. It wasn't even a day later. It wasn't even a day. Not even 24 hours. Okay, they were already. They had already drafted Boots Ennis and threw him out there. They already drafted Boots Ennis and threw him out there. As the next victim for Crawford. Saying that, oh yeah, he said me next, me next. they, they got a hold of some quote from Boots in it saying me next, and they threw it out there as the proof that Innocence the next is ready and he's ready to go. So the problem with that though is that Crawford, had already offered to fight, to fight Innes, previously. Okay, we all saw that whole story, and if you didn't see it, you go check out my video about whether Innes really wants to fight Crawford, or he's just waiting around. So, or he just playing the waiting game. So, you know, Crawford offered that fight to Boots, to Bozy, and Bozy sent him to what's the guy there from Showtime? Espinosa. He sent him to Espinosa. Now, he never accepted the fight. They asked him if he wanted to fight with Crawford and Spence, with Crawford and Boots. He said, yeah, they want that fight, but, go talk to Espinosa. So, now he sent him to Espinosa for what? Why didn't he just say, okay, I'll accept it, and then we'll work out the details with Espinosa? But instead, he said that, and in his own, watch my video, you will see it in his own words. He said that he sent them to Black Prime to Espinosa, and then Espinosa called him later and told he called Espinosa later, and Espinosa told him that they wasn't talking about the fight between Boots and Crawford, and so he asked him what was he talking about, and he said he never really got an answer because the people never called Espinosa back. Now you have to understand that he sent these Black Prime to Espinosa, who was at the same time was trying to make the fight between Spence and Crawford, right? Here, so Bozy is going to send the people. He's going to send Crawford. People came to him with a fight and said, "Yo, we give you a fight. We'll fight you before Spence. Tune up basically." And they told Spence to go and talk to Espinosa, the guy who was trying to make the fight between Spence and Crawford. How does that work? Anyway, uh, naturally nothing came of that because personally I'm thinking that's why he sent them to Espinosa in the first place, because he knew that Espinosa was going to kill the fight, because he knew that Espinosa was working on the Spence Crawford fight, and that's exactly what happened. you know so this whole idea that Boots is going to fight Crawford is another fantasy of the LDBC and the affiliates, and the people like Fannin and Boxing Ego, and people like that. uh, they actually believe that Bozy is gonna throw Boots in there with a killer like Crawford. Okay, that's what they believe. Bozy's not gonna do that. I mean, he had an opportunity to do it and he refused. Okay, at the end of the day, so their whole strategy, as far as I can see from Bozy, and his team was, because they went the IBF route, as Crawford confronted them about that on when he was on that $1 million worth of game, and asking why they went the IBF route instead of coming the WBO route, where he was, and they didn't really have no answer for him. So at the end of the day, you know, like I said, Crawford offered him the fight. They didn't take it. They punted, and now you're gonna tell me that they want to fight Crawford all of a sudden? Nah, I don't. I'm not buying that because again, I believe that you know Bruce Ennis can go on social media and talk all he want, you know, about yeah, let's get it on and this and that. But at the end of the day, they're not making any offer. They're not going to activate the mandatory to fight Crawford. They're just going to be talking on social media. Okay, that's all they're going to be doing. They're not going to be making because at the end of the day, again, their strategy before Spence Crawford fought, their strategy was to wait for Spence to move up to 154 pounds, and then he dropped the belts, and then uh, Boots could fight an elimination, maybe with Stanley or somebody, and get one of the belts. Okay, that was their strategy going the IBF route. But as we all saw what happened, Spence didn't beat Crawford because remember they asked Boots who he thought was going to win the fight, and he said he thought Spence was going to win, but that wasn't. I don't think he actually thought that. I mean, maybe he did. I don't know, but at the end of the day, I think he was just hoping that would be the case. Okay, he was hoping because if Spence won, Spence would have moved up immediately. He would have dropped them belts, and then Boots would have been in a position as the interim champion. He wouldn't even have to fight for the belt. The belt would just go to him automatically from the IBF. Okay, that's what they was hoping for. Okay, and right now, we all know that's that didn't happen. Now Terrence have all the belts, so now you know they're hoping now that Terrence is going to drop the belts and go to 154 pounds. But the problem with that is that Terrence probably might not do that because Charlo is getting ready to fight Canelo, and if Charlo was at 154 pounds, more than likely that's what Crawford would do. He'd fight Charlo. He'd probably drop the belts, and then Boots would be able to pick up one of the belts. But it doesn't look like that's what's going on right now. We don't know actually what's going to go on. Okay, but at the end of the day, what I'm saying is that Boots couldn't wait. Okay, I mean, it's not like he's going to activate his mandatory and fight Crawford anyway. Regardless of any talk on social media. Okay, so talk on social media, just talk on social media. The question is, what steps are they taking to make the fight happen? And we're going to see that. And I guarantee you that they're not going to take any steps to make the fight with Boots and Crawford. Bosley ain't no fool. He knows that Crawford is a killer. He's not going to put Boots in there with Crawford right now. And I wouldn't recommend it either. So, I don't think, that, it's because I'm not saying that they're scared or nothing like that, but it's just that, Boots is not ready to face a killer like Crawford. Okay? He's just not ready. You know what I mean? If Errol Spence wasn't ready, what makes Boots ready? You know? He was a triple, unified champion. So I mean, we gotta look at the reality. But a lot of people they don't really care about that. All they care about, like I said, they dropped Errol Spence with a quickness, and they already picked up Boots and I'm putting him on their shoulders and running around with him talking about he's next. So so this is what we have, okay. But at the end of the day, like I'm saying, I don't. I think Boots can wait. What I want to see is a fight between Charlo and Crawford right now. Okay, that's the fight we need right now. That's the big fight for boxing. Now supposedly Charlo is going to fight Canelo. Again, there's no. I mean, they said the fight is going to be in Las Vegas, but there's actually no venue. No actual time, no actual date. It's supposed to be in October, supposedly. Okay, no, in September, supposedly, which is kind of fast actually. So I don't know. Is that fight actually going to happen? We don't know. Supposedly Crawford is meeting with according to CJ from Goodfella TV. That shout out to CJ Goodfella. It sounds like according to him, they're supposed to have a meeting today with Spence. I mean, not Spence, but with Crawford. Maybe Spence too. I don't know. With PBC, and this is be talking about what's next. Okay, supposedly. So hoping that what happens in that meeting is that they meet. And since there's actually no date or no venue for the fight with Charlo yet, okay, uh, they should make the fight between Charlo and Spence. I mean, Charlo and Crawford instead of the fight between Charlo and Canelo. Okay, that way, you know, that's you have undisputed against undisputed, and the winner of that undisputed would move up and fight the other undisputed at 168 pounds, 160 pounds, or whatever catch weight they decide. You know, the fight that depending on who's the winner, if it's Charlo or Crawford between them at 154 pounds. Okay, so Crawford and Charlo would fight at 154 pounds. Okay, the winner of that fight, if Charlo is the winner, he could meet Canelo at 168 pounds. If Crawford is the winner, he could meet Canelo at 160 pounds because if he's coming up two weight classes to fight Canelo, at least Canelo could come down one weight class, you know, or at least at 163 or 164 pounds, you know. So, and then, you know, they can fight. So you would have Charlo and Jermell Charlo and Crawford fighting. The winner of that fight would move and face Canelo, and that would be the super fight. Okay, so you would have a two-time undisputed in Crawford facing a one-time undisputed in Jermell Charlo, and the winner of that fight would either make Charlo a two-time undisputed. Well, he probably wouldn't. No, actually, they'd be fighting for his belt, so they won't be fighting for Crawford's belt. So you know, but if you know, so if Charlo wins, technically he would be a two-time undisputed because he would have beaten an undisputed guy. Okay, but I don't think it would be an official thing because Crawford would probably still keep his belts. So, you know, but if Crawford was to win, then he would be three-time undisputed, and he'd be getting ready to fight Canelo at four-time undisputed, and that would make him four-time undisputed if he beats Canelo. So to me, that's the way this thing should go. That's a, you know, you can't get a better storyline than that. Okay, undisputed after undisputed fighting in sequence like that, and that would be a great story. Okay, and the winner of that would be immortalized in boxing history. So yeah, that would be a great thing to see, and that's what I would love to see. That, you know, because to me, you know, that's probably the best road to take at this point. Okay, so hopefully, like I said in this meeting, they come up with this, you know, plan where, you know, instead of continuing on with the, you know, Jermell versus Canelo, they instead they have Jermell versus Crawford. You know, everybody want to see that fight. Okay, you know, that's a more competitive fight, I would think. You know, and if Jermell wins the fight, you know, as he says, you know, in my graphic there, he would take the Crawford bag and then still, you know, he'd be, you know, be be in line to fight Canelo next, and then he'd still get the Canelo bag. So now he'd have two bags. Okay, so he wouldn't be losing anything. All he have to do is beat Crawford. Okay, and I'm thinking from his perspective, it surely should be easier for him to beat Crawford than it is to beat Canelo, right? I mean, so why wouldn't you go make a swerve, take that bag with Crawford first, and then swerve back and get the other bag from Canelo? That would be the move, right? But then, you know, if you look at it from another perspective, if he goes up and and fights Canelo and loses, then everybody expects him to lose to Canelo, okay? Because Canelo's the bigger guy. But if he as the bigger guy fights Crawford and lose, then you know it's not going to look so good for him, okay? Plus, he's going to lose his belts. You know, if he loses against Canelo, he's not going to lose his belts because Canelo's not going to come down to 154 pounds. So, you know, so from Jermell's perspective, it's probably best to just go up and fight Canelo, and then, you know, if anything, he come down and meet Crawford at 160 pounds or something like that, or some kind of catch weight, you know, and then they could fight, you know, if he loses to Canelo, okay, because he'll still have his belts and they can still fight for those belts, right? So, you know, there's a lot of scenarios that can play out, you know, but again, for me, the best scenario would be that Jermell Charlo would face Terence Crawford, Uh, the winner of that fight, if it's Jermell Charlo, would he'd get to move up now after he beat Terence Crawford and fight uh, after he beat the undisputed Terence Crawford, the two-time undisputed Terence Crawford. He would then move up and beat the undisputed uh, Canelo Alvarez if he was able to beat Canelo Alvarez. Now I would think that if Jermell Charlo fought Terence Crawford and beat Terence Crawford, that would give him the experience to be able to have a better shot at beating Canelo. Okay, that's what I would think. Okay, so but that's me. Like I said, from a pride, a false pride standpoint, it would be better for Jermell Charlo to move up and fight Canelo. So if he loses, nobody can say nothing because he lost to a bigger man. If he loses to Crawford, yeah, he's gonna get the Crawford bag, but people gonna say he lost to Crawford. But I mean, Crawford already beat Spence, so losing to Crawford is not. There's no shame in that. I mean, just the better man is gonna win. But yeah, so that's how I see it. So that's to me that's the road to greatness right there. Charlo versus Crawford, the winner takes on Canelo. And to me, that's the road to greatness, and hopefully that's what we're gonna see. Because, like I said, there's the Jermell Charlo Canelo fight is not written in stone yet. You know, so they could make changes. I mean, the fight would still be on, but it would just now Charlo would have to prevail against Crawford first, and then he would go up against Canelo if he was to win. But if not, then we'd have Terence Crawford going up against Canelo. Just imagine if that was to happen, that Terence Crawford was to become three-time undisputed by beating Jermell Charlo, and then move up and become four-time undisputed by defeating Canelo Alvarez. That's the road to greatness. Okay, that's the road to immortality in the boxing annals, and that would be something to see. And I don't think anybody would ever be able to repeat anything like that. But we're gonna have to wait and see how it plays out. But as we saw, with the Crawford and Spence fight, Crawford does have the skills. Now, whether or not he has the skills to beat a guy like Jermell Charlo, who's a much bigger guy than Spence, probably stronger than Spence, I'm pretty sure. Not only that, Jermell Charlo is a more versatile fighter than Spence. Okay, he could move side to side. He could move and going backwards. He has a little more pop than Spence, I would think. Even though I mean, I hear rumors that Spence be beating him up in sparring. I tend not to believe those from what I've seen. But who knows? But I'm thinking the fight between Crawford and Jermell Charlo will be much more competitive than what we saw in this fight with Spence and Crawford. Okay, Jermell I think would put up a more competitive fight. So yeah. So that's Spence right there. I mean that's Crawford right there calling out Jermell right now. But again, like I said, Jermell Charlo, you know, as you can see from here, he's a much more. See, look at him moving backwards. Throwing hooks. Okay, he can move around. He's very good at moving. He can, he fires. He's pretty, and then he's much quicker than Spence as well. He throws a lot of punches. Okay, he's a bigger guy. He's not afraid to let his hands go like he's doing right now against Castaño. Okay, and he has some pop. He can put a guy down if he have to, and we're gonna see that in a couple of seconds here. Uh, Jermell Charlo is no joke. He's a great fighter. Okay. Now I don't know. I think me personally, I think the pre Derek James Charlo was a better fighter, and well maybe I don't know if he's maybe a better boxer because he used to do a lot more movement, and he wasn't so convinced about his punching power and trying to slug it out with people like he does now. You know, like he's doing now with like he just did. You know, he just overpowered Castaño right there with a good shot. You know, so and the way he's gonna finish Castaño right here is perfect. You know, even though he did throw too many head punches, but he was connecting. He threw that body shot and finished him right there. A thing of perfection. So Charlo is no joke. So we're not gonna see, and stylistically, he's a different fight, like I said, you know, than Crawford and Spence. So we're gonna see a much more technical, much more, you know, and competitive fight. And when they have firefights, you know, if they do, Charlo, has the ability to, probably connect a lot more than Spence could. But again, I think that if once Crawford moves up, he probably have more pop than you know than Charlo. So we don't know how that would play out in the end. A bigger, stronger Crawford than he was at welterweight against Spence. Okay, so I mean that could be fatal for Charlo. But yeah, but again, that's what I would like to see. Okay. Charlo next against Crawford. The winner of that, they face Canelo for all the marbles. You know, if it's Crawford that beats Charlo, then we're gonna see a hell of a fight between him and Canelo for 4-time undisputed at 168 pounds or a catch weight, 164. So yeah, I would love to see the Charlo Crawford fight. The Spence fight that can wait. The Boots fight that can wait as well. Plus, I don't think Boots, like I said, is gonna put his hat in the ring right away. He's gonna wait around to see how it's gonna shake out between Crawford and 154 pounds, and to see if Crawford is gonna move and drop those belts. And so, with that said, I'm gonna leave it there. This is TBE Boxing saying, I'm out.
Got the money for minutes, pretty bitch, gotta show me titties. This is the life that I chose, huh? On the block with the pole, huh? This is the life that I chose, huh? On the block with the pole, huh? That life before riches, huh? That life before riches, huh? Pretty bitch, show me titties, huh? And I got the glazzy run up on me, I'ma make you get it. I'ma make you get it.